Welcome everybody to this session, to this AI use case in production with Anne Schmucker. The topic, as you can see, is digital multi-market lead generation, the concept, therefore. And I'm your moderator. My name is Johanna Viktor. I'm working as a senior AI specialist at Deutsche Bahn, so German Railway. Just one remark. If you have questions, I already posted here on the right side in the chat. You're welcome to post questions there or in the Q&A section, wherever you want. While Anna is giving the talk, you're welcome to already post your questions, but we will answer them only later after the short talk is finished. So then, let's turn to Anna, a short introduction. She earned her degree at Stuttgart Media University and has been working with Daimler for the last 5 years. And there she's specializing on data strategy, mostly relating to marketing. And this is also where this topic came up. So yeah, Anna, I'll hand over to you. Thank you very much already for giving this talk to us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Johanna, for the nice introduction. First of all, I think there are two pieces of good news. It's Friday and it's afternoon. But I hope you're still motivated to listen to my presentation. By the way, is there an echo?
Yeah, there is a slight echo.
Okay, then let's fix this. Might come also from... Hello?
Yeah.
Now it should work.
Yeah.
All right. So what it is about, I might disappoint some of the audience, but I will not provide you today with an operational technical blueprint. But what I rather want to show you today is a big picture. So I want to show you core important elements, action items, and also areas, stakeholder areas that are important if you want to roll out a data-driven project across different multiple markets, meaning also in a bigger corporate context. Since I'm living in the digital marketing and sales world, it's about a cross-market lead generation concept. So how can online data lead to leads, to new prospects in the online world? And what I actually built throughout my expertise within the last years was kind of pillars. So pillars that form the base for a successful project management and actually also project rollout when it comes to data-driven marketing. And this is also my mission for today. So for the next 50 minutes, I want to guide you through the 5 pillars you can see here, meaning market assessment, stakeholder education, lead definition and machine learning models, steering hub, and analysis and improvement. Let's start right away with market assessment. So, of course, global companies, they have also different organigrams, how they cluster also their different markets and also market clusters. So it's really important also, first of all, to assess the market, to identify the stakeholder structure. When it comes to a data project, of course, we have the marketing, the digital marketing team involved. We have the IT team, very important, the legal team. I mean, here for the European countries, we do have the GDPR actually compliant for all markets, but still it's important to also have here different legal assessments in place. Then, of course, dealing with marketing means also having external and internal partners on board. So also external partners should be involved. So that's first of all the screening, and then of the stakeholders. And then second of all, we have the assessment of the data maturity level. This means to identify what are the data points that are being collected in respective market. And linked to this, the last point is the digital infrastructure. So how is the digital infrastructure being set up? are the dots connected? What is the analytics tool behind? How can also the data then being collected and being put also in a bigger data pool in order to drive and orchestrate a holistic data-driven model, meaning a lead generation model. Once the market assessment is done, we do face, and this is really crucial, I guess, for all industry, that we require special competencies once we enter the field of data-driven daily work, right? So it's important also to hear to boost and to motivate the internal colleagues and internal respective responsible persons to actually educate themselves and give also webinars, trainings, and guidelines, hands-on material in order to brief and actually to improve the competence given. Also here, the selection of the relevant stakeholders, because of course everybody, there's not like a must for everyone to have a certain level of knowledge, but of course different stakeholder groups require different areas of competencies. Especially in the marketing field, it's really important to get a feeling of how to read, analyze the data, and drive on a daily basis directly actionable items and actions that should be then included into the daily business. So really, what can be taken out of data? And that's really a competency which is of high importance here. So that's the stakeholder education pillar. And by the way, all pillars, it's not a one-time thing, it's really an ongoing process here. So also the stakeholder education, it's an ongoing requirement we identified. So, and then we come to one actually core pillar. It's the lead definition and the machine learning models, the setup. And here, the lead definition and the conversion scenarios, it sounds really simple, but it is not, because we need to bring everybody on board. We need to align, we need to identify a common goal. And for a lead generation concept, of course, we have the common goal to drive leads. But what is a lead? Yeah, a lead can, for example, in I would say in consumer goods, it's more like directly driving the sale. But for example, in the automotive, where we have a high involvement product, a luxury product, a lead is a direct and first personal contact point with the online customer. So meaning we need a conversion scenarios that are linked to the generation of a lead. Speaking of conversion events for automotive, you might all know we have, for example, car configurators, we have a test drive booking options, or we have request a quote. And all these contact points to drive leads, they need to be harmonized, and they need, of course, be common in all markets that form part of the project. So we do have the comparable, that we can compare them, but also that we have a common goal ahead. And I think this is really the chip-in we need. Once we have identified what are the conversion scenarios we want that are driving the leads and what are the leads for us, we need to, or we want to identify what are machine learning use cases that can help us to drive those leads. Meaning, speaking of industry-wide, very well-known use cases such as predictive, in the field of predictive analytics, for example, attribute modeling, or for example, propensity scoring. So what is the amount of I would say hot prospects or warm prospects or cold prospects. So also to identify what is where can we improve, in which areas of our online journey can we improve in order to drive the leads using the data which has been gathered through machine learning. And once we have identified the use cases and of course also have done the plausibility check, we want to roll them out. And here, I guess all of the industry data scientists and being here in the audience, they know very well it's all about creating dashboards in a respective BI platform, business intelligence platform. I mean, Tableau is a big player, or also Power BI, but it's really important here to connect the dots and to make the data gathered in the models, but also overall within the lead generation, visible in dashboards. And here, since we speak of a multi-market concept, it's crucial and essential to have also all the data available to make sure the BI platform is being built upon a high qualitative data pool. So this is a really important pillar. And coming to one next element, which I identified as actually one of the key success factors, is the building of a steering hub. So once we speak of plus 10 markets, and we have, for example, a market representative taking care of the project, this is not enough. What is really required is to enable each market and also the different stakeholders in the market to have one point of information, but also not only information, even an orchestration. And here, a steering hub built out of data and analytics experts. They can be both internal, but they can also be coming from external parties. They need to provide on a daily basis possibilities to steer, to align between the markets, and especially to work in an agile way. And I experienced that once you have like markets that are very into the topic, they embrace this idea, but if you identify also markets that are maybe less or not yet convinced, this is really the one good motivation. If you can identify, hey, we can provide you experts, we can give you hands-on examples, we can give you on a daily basis a way to improve and to make the model running. And how can we make the model running? I was speaking of the BI platform, and this is really important to not only have a platform and have built a platform and have built some dashboards, it's about using them. It's about using them, and it's about making every stakeholder part of this work in progress analysis and improvement part. So here we have, of course, the model's quality checks. We have also then the build of the dashboards, also improving, enriching dashboards, working on new dashboards, having also new stakeholders on board, and then also identify, can we use the dashboards the way they are, or do we need to improve them? Do we need to gather new data, or how can we actually use the tool we have, the visible insights, in order to not only prove that the models are running and working, but also to prove and to identify areas for improvement. So this is really important to enable a data-driven daily operation. And what I was mentioning in between, they're not isolated. All these pillars I've just shown you, they're part of a big picture. So this is the big picture. It's about connecting gear wheels, and each gear wheel is working in a way independently, but of course linked also to other gear wheels. So this is actually the main message I wanted to share with you. If you have any also more technical, more in-depth questions, I'm much looking forward to them. And thank you so much for listening. I'm really sorry that I was not able to show you via video my presentation like myself, but still, you could hear and listen. So thanks so much. And Johanna, yeah, let's start with the questions.
Right. So thank you very much for giving interesting presentation about a corporate company, getting the first steps into this machine learning and AI world. I'm just interested, of course, in the more specific use cases you were realizing. Could you give us some insight, examples, what those use cases were?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, sure, in a way that I still need to be compliant, but the industry-wide well-known marketing use cases and machine learning are, of course, the predictive, the propensity scoring, and also the attribute modeling. So also identifying which attributes of the homepage are performing in which way, and also where does the machine, or in a way the model, identify areas for improvements. So also identifying, using, for example, the specific case of conversion scenario. Let's take the test drive booking. If we identify for model A class, for model B class, we identify there's potential for improvement in a way that the test drive booking is form, for example, did not work or whatever. This can be then taken as an action point directly from the data insights gathered via the model. So this is one example, or what I was talking about, the prospects, clustering in a way, so identifying different levels of likelihood to convert, let's say it like this. So the likelihood to test a book a test drive, to request a quote, or to configure the car, a car. So this is really important also to identify the options, or the I would say the amount of options that have been collected via the model, and then to drive again tangible, actionable action. So this is really what it is about.
Okay, I see. Thank you. Yeah. And which of those 5 pillars presented the most challenges to you? Which one is the most important one, if you have to decide?
I would definitely say it's about building the steering hub. So really building a platform, first of all, that is accepted throughout all stakeholders, but also to really run it, right? Because here it's really about the operational part. So here it's really about daily basis, fix the data issues, make sure the model is running, make sure also the insights collected are actually meeting the expectation. And if not, how do we need to adjust? So what are then the little next steps we need to run and we need to improve? So it's really a high level like a high quality collaboration model. And it's not about like just between two departments. I'm speaking of different markets, I'm speaking of different stakeholder groups, I'm speaking also of new challenges that have not been yet like this handled. So it's really important to have here the right persons in place, of course, for sure. And again, as in all industry, it matters who's involved and who is actually then giving the right input and the right directions to run the model.
So just to understand, this is really then the steering hub are many people that on the one hand have insights into the market, and on the other hand are data experts?
Yeah, so speaking of the amount, I think there is like a critical size. And I think this comes also from the theories you have learned throughout any project or business studies. It's important to have a size that is, I would say, not over 10 people. Because then, of course, it's getting really complicated to run it on a daily basis. So it's really like a group that needs to focus on different stakeholders, but of course they need to orchestrate way more people, right? But they themselves, in order to have this agile collaboration between themselves first of all, there's like a critical size we need to make sure and enable.
And so just again to understand how it works, if I am in a market and then I don't know, I, for example, have a problem, I don't understand the data I see in the dashboard, then I go to the steering hub, or do I refer to them if somehow the values I get as a prognosis don't make sense, so there has to be a bug, so I turn to them and say, ooh, check it, please, there's some issues?
Yeah, so this is, I think that's some important point you've just asked, because it's not about being the center of emergency, right? And like the backup call center. It's really this is like another story. Of course, in a huge model, we need a technical like request center and a request
like
a
ticketing
form
system.
to have handled all these technical and data issues. But the Expert and Analytics Hub is really about strategic focus on how the models are running, how also the markets are performing. So also a comparison task, but also then a improvement task, and especially looking into the future, a development task.
Oh, okay,
So it's really not the technical and the bug fixing in this sense, maybe in the beginning, because of course first you need to align, but then the overall goal is to achieve it as a strategic tab, giving also insights to the markets themselves in order to then run the system in future themselves, right? Because it takes, of course, time to build the competencies that I've been talking about. It's the key success factor also for the future. But then, of course, it's good to have here then an expert team, which is the point of information and the point of strategy, I would say.
Thank you. Yeah. And then turning to another column, I think this stakeholder management probably is also a very challenging task. How did you experience this? Yeah. What were the main challenges?
Definitely, because of course you have different levels of stakeholders, be it executive level, be it then also, I would say, project management level. But still, what I identified is once you can connect, and once you can find the right way to explain and to show what can be taken out of the model, and what are the benefits, actually the business values we can create, it's important here to have then respective visualizations available. And speaking of this, I'm speaking again of the dashboards in the BI platform. So again, here dashboards should serve also the stakeholders, meaning a stakeholder which should just decide based on really the output, right? They have, I would say, a restrictive view, because they need to focus on their KPIs and their values. But then, of course, if you have someone in the digital marketing team who needs to understand the entire process, the dashboard is, of course, more granular. The dashboards contain more information and more insights, but then also the persons using these dashboards, they also understand it. So this is, I think, also one crucial experience that I've gathered throughout the project, and should serve also for all kind of industries.
Yeah. So just to the audience, if you want to post questions, I see there's something in the Q&A. There is one question that says, how is the role of the disruption tree in your hub?
Of the
disruption tree?
I can't see actually the question.
It's in the Q&A, so it's not in the chat, but if you turn
Right.
to the
I see.
right,
Okay.
yes.
How is about the well, good
We
question actually.
we can also ask to like specify more, what do you
Yeah.
mean with the disruption treat? Maybe there is going to be some specification on it. You're welcome to write it down. In the meantime, I would ask, like, how many people in general are involved in this project? What's your guess? Like, is it 100 or is it 500
It
or
depending,
is it
of course,
50?
of the markets involved, but you can then actually calculate it yourself. But I would say each market has a few, four or five stakeholders involved, and then of course you have a central team behind. So with every market joining, you have then also more people involved, right? But of course, it my experience went to plus 100, right?
Okay.
And then of course, in today's business, it's really important to have digital access points for all kind of information. So it's not like a bilateral communication. It's really having an exchange platform, making sure that everybody can always see what's going on and what and can take their information from a platform. So this makes it way easier to orchestrate such an amount of people involved.
Okay, I see.
Thread, sorry for
Yeah, so there's the disruption thread. Do you want to say something about it or?
um it depends what area of disruption, right? If it comes to data themselves, if we analyze, for example, we cannot connect all data connection points in one market, of course, it's a technical team who needs to be involved. And what I said, the hub is on long term, it should be more strategic and yeah, overall the holistic view, having quality check, but also the development. But when it comes to disruptions themselves, from a technical perspective, of course, you need like a technical support team here, which needs to be established. So this is from the tactical disruption area. Speaking of disruption, when it comes also to maybe different visions in markets, of course, there we need proper communication, but also, yeah, as we're all human, sometimes it makes sense to just, connect bilaterally and check what are the issues, where can we support, and how can we also make you um, make you feel confident in following the overall hub strategy. So
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. It's now quarter past 1, so the time of this AI use case in production is over. Thank you all very much for watching.